Oh, hello. I spent way too much money on 4Ks and Blu-rays this month. Let's talk about them. Excuse me one moment. What's up everyone, Red Eye Reviews here with another episode of Physical Therapy for you, this time for the month of December 2024. Yes, we are going back in time to December to take a look at all of the 4Ks and Blu-rays that I picked up in the month of December. We have a lot to go through this month, so let's jump right in, shall we? So first off, I actually have an
upgrade
to a Blu-ray that I own, and that is the 4K
upgrade
of
upgrade
on 4K from Shout Factory. So this is a modern cyberpunk classic in my opinion. This is from 2018, directed by Lee Whannell, the guy who co-wrote Saw and things like Invisible Man remake, things like that. So Upgrade follows a guy who is paralyzed after an attack which leaves his wife for dead and him paralyzed. He's offered a chance to get bodily
upgrade
through this thing called STEM, and it basically makes him a killing machine and pretty much unstoppable. And I gotta say, this movie looked a little silly when I first heard about it years ago, but after watching it, man, it's pretty cool. And you know, like the action's tight, the editing's tight, the tech in this film is pretty awesome. The picture quality of this 4K, it's a lot better than the Blu-ray, I say, but your mileage may vary on how much you might want to
upgrade
your Blu-ray to 4K, because you may not think it's worth it. Now this comes with a Blu-ray that Shout Factory produced, so it is different from the Universal Blu-ray that you may have. However, if you're a big fan of this film, I recommend the
upgrade.
But if you just want to check it out, it's worth checking out on Blu-ray, or even, dare I say, streaming. But you should watch this film if you can, and then decide if you want to
Upgrade.
I need your permission to operate independently.
Permission granted!
Thank you. There's a gun implanted inside his hand. We're going to finish the job we started.
Next up, we have one of George A. Romero's classic zombie films. And I'm not talking about the Holy Trilogy, I'm talking about Land of the Dead on 4K. So I know this movie isn't for everyone. Land of the Dead is the fourth installment in George A. Romero's zombie, I don't know what to even call it. He's got a lot of zombie movies. To me, you can't beat his first three. This is number 4, and honestly, I think it's one of the best of his modern zombie films. So Land of the Dead came out in 2005. I was really excited and hyped to see it in the theater. Opening day, I was there. And you know, the movie was pretty interesting for Romero fans because it was a polished studio picture released by Universal, but still has that Romero touch to it. You know, it's interesting because it has a lot to say about things like post 9/11 world and politics of the early 2000s. It's got some great cast in it like John Leguizamo and the late great Dennis Hopper. I don't know. I really like this film. Your mileage may vary depending on the kind of Romero zombie fan you are. I think this is the best of his model. Shout Factory has done a pretty good job making this go to 4K because previously it was on a Universal Blu-ray, and I don't even remember what cut it had on this, but this has both cuts. So on 4K disc, you're getting the unrated cut, and then you also get 2 Blu-rays, each with a different cut. One's theatrical, one's unrated. So, you know, your mileage may vary on that as well. I looked at the 4K recently. I think it looks pretty damn good. I like the unrated cut. There's nothing in there that really annoys me. I believe the theatrical Blu-ray is also a remastered Blu-ray, so you're getting, just like Upgrade, you're getting a different version of the film than you would have gotten had you just bought it on Blu-ray. Land of the Dead, again, your mileage may vary. I love it a lot. For me, it was worth the upgrade.
Upgrade.
And, you know, I have the last of my Black Friday / late November pickups is The Departed on 4K from Warner Brothers.
You will not ever know the identity of undercover people.
You have anyone in with Costello presently?
Maybe.
Do you know who I am?
Maybe not.
I'm gonna have my associates search you.
Now, I got this at a pretty good price, Black Friday. It's The Departed. It's one of Scorsese's best, but to me, not among, the top 5 of his best. He's clearly got way more better films, but this is still damn good too. I love it. The performances in this are great. Everyone gives it their all. Say what you will about the movie, I really, really enjoy it. I think it's a tight cop and robber thriller with, Scorsese touch. And the old Blu-ray was pretty damn crusty. I believe it was a VC1, so when Warner put this out, I couldn't wait for a price drop. It took about a year. Price finally dropped. Honestly, if you can get this for about 15 or 20 bucks, it's worth it. It's a solid upgrade over that old crusty Blu-ray, and, the movie's pretty damn good too, so The Departed. Pick it up if you're wicked smart.
We got a cop in my crew.
Sooner or later, he's gonna find out who I am, and he's gonna kill me.
I lied. I have one last pickup from that Thanksgiving Black Friday death rattle of a sale, and that is Unforgiven on 4K. So Unforgiven is a blind buy for me. Yes, I've never seen it, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. A 90s Western from Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood. Great cast, great performances. One of the last great Westerns, apparently. Like I said, I've heard nothing but good things about it. I really want to check it out. Now that I'm an old, I can get into Westerns comfortably and not have anyone judge me, so I really want to check out Unforgiven because I hear it's one of the best. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, because I haven't heard a bad thing about this movie, so Unforgiven. Can't wait to check it out.
Well, sir, you are a cowardly son of a bitch. You just shot an unarmed man.
Well, he should have harmed himself.
Next up, I have what could have been a controversial 4K, but I'm glad it's not, and that is James Cameron's Terminator on 4K from Warner.
Big bands.
By now, you've probably heard that this wasn't as bad as it could have been, and you're right. I watched it recently. I agree. Very nice upgrade. Nothing really looked too wrong or out of place to me. Nothing looked AI or revisionist or, just out of place. So I was really glad to get this. I know everyone was getting their copies, and I was one of the last to grab it because there was a shipping problem on my end. I don't know, but it was great having anticipation for a release like this, and it was great that it paid off because I really love this film. I've been watching it a lot lately, and this upgrade is really, really worth it.
Cyborgs don't feel pain. I do.
Next up, I have a small little panic buy, and thankfully it was only about $5, and that is Chain Reaction on Blu-ray from 20th Century Fox. So this is an old 90s thriller that I remember seeing the previews for on, broadcast TV back in the day. And, as much as I love Keanu Reeves, I love him. He's a national treasure.
National treasure.
There's one line from that trailer or TV spot that always stuck with me, and I always think of it when I see this movie, and I'll play it for you now. Imagine seeing that TV spot while you're watching, broadcast TV throughout the week, and, that's kind of the impression that was left in my head of this movie at the time. So, needless to say, I never saw this for decades. I saw it recently. It's not that bad. It's kind of a, mid-90s movie. It's about environmentalism, and, there's a thriller plot around that. I'm really not going to regurgitate all that for you, but
I tell you, it just doesn't matter! It just doesn't matter!
the reason I got this was because as a 20th Century Fox Blu-ray from back in the day, it's, now that they're owned by Disney, I'm a little more paranoid about their releases going out of print. I remember liking this about 5 years ago when I saw this during COVID, and, for about $5, hey, it was worth, pulling onto this and making sure that I have it. Maybe to watch on a rainy day someday, but Chain Reaction, neat little thriller, it's fun, and, why not?
The best
That grandpa really was right.
Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year. I'd be scared too if I was you.
Next up, I have Silent Night, Deadly Night on 4K Blu-ray from Shout Factory. So this is one of my favorite Christmas movies to watch. On Christmas Eve, back in my mid-20s, I used to bring this over to my parents' house when I'd go see them for Christmas and put this on our big TV in the living room and sit down, have some snacks, have some drinks, and it would inadvertently piss the rest of my family off because this is definitely not a Christmas movie if your family's not into Christmas horror movies. This was a no-brainer upgrade for me from Shout Factory because with this edition, you are getting the theatrical cut on the 4K disc. You're also getting 2 Blu-rays, one with the theatrical, one with the unrated. And those transfers have been updated, I believe. I haven't had a chance to check them out, but I have had a chance to check out the 4K theatrical. And let me tell you, it's amazing, worth the upgrade. Yes, I haven't had a chance to check out the unrated, but I mean, it's the same or a little bit better quality than the last edition we got on Blu-ray. So the real reason to upgrade this would be the theatrical on 4K, and that's solely why I did it, because I just love this movie so much. If they came out with a theatrical and unrated on 4K version tomorrow, I don't know if I'd buy it right away. I'd wait for a pretty big price drop, because right now this has got me good for now. If you're unaware of this film, Silent Night, Deadly Night is a 80s cult classic. I used to remember seeing this on VHS in the rental stores, walking past it as a kid, and it always scared the hell out of me and also intrigued me. So years later, when I was able to watch this, I was able to see what all the fuss was about and why all the mothers back in the early 80s tried to get this movie banned.
When angry parents picketed theaters where it
So,
played.
Horror fans, if you're looking to upgrade, I highly recommend Shout Factory's new edition.
You see Santa Claus tonight? You better run, boy. You better run for your life. Next
up, we have Ghost in the Shell on 4K. So this was a Blu-ray upgrade for me. I found it on the shelves at Rasputin Music and Movies for only $5.95. Yeah, I know this is a soulless remake of an anime classic, but you know what? I'm a cyberpunk junkie. I had to have it. It was cheap. It was an upgrade. It's got Dolby Atmos. Why not?
Why not?
I'm not going to go over Ghost in the Shell and the plot elements and things like that, but you should honestly check out the anime first and then check out this one. You'll probably like the anime better. I highly recommend it. Classic, but you know, Scarlett Johansson wears this suit so damn well.
Stop him!
It's got some pretty cool tech. The CGI is not bad. You know, visually, it's fun to look at. But if you want to upgrade this, I say upgrade it for cheap. Your mileage may vary with this one.
This is Major. I'm on site. I'm going in.
Next up, I have an 80s classic on Blu-ray, and that is Maniac Cop from Arrow Video.
He strikes without cause, without mercy.
You may be getting information from inside the department.
You're not gonna get me.
So Maniac Cop was released in the UK by Arrow, this edition right here. It was also released in America with the Synapse edition. These two editions are basically the same, and upon doing some research for this, I realized that you're not going to get much of a better upgrade of this if it ever were to come to 4K. That's not saying it won't come to 4K someday, but I believe William Lustig has commented on it. Someone was quoted as saying this can basically not look any better. It's impossible to look any better because of the original elements.
God damn it, are you fucking with me?
I don't know. Because of the way this film was made and shot, and because of that, I decided to finally cave and buy the Blu-ray of this. I'm fine with owning it on Blu-ray, no big deal. If you're unfamiliar with the plot, Maniac Cop is basically about there is a Maniac Cop
Done.
going around New York killing people, and Bruce Campbell is a policeman, and he is basically accused of doing these crimes, so he basically has to set out to prove himself innocent. Directed by William Lustig, it also stars Tom Atkins, the great Tom Atkins, Bruce Campbell. I mean, this is 80s classic right here. I really don't know why I didn't own this one yet, but when I found out the two releases were identical, I decided to go with Arrow, just because Arrow's pretty damn reliable, and the Synapse release seems like it's a little bit older, so you can't go wrong with Arrow. Also, this is the original artwork there. So when you go and look for this is the cover you're going to want to find. This is the cover you'll see. I had it flipped around to the theatrical, as I always do with Arrow. But yeah, Maniac Cop. Check it out. Worth your time.
Hold on, I didn't do any of this.
When a cop turns killer, you have the right to remain silent forever. Maniac Cop.
Alright, so we are halfway through. I do want to say, please don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the picks so far. Have you ever seen Maniac Cop? What do you think of it? Is Bruce Campbell the GOAT, or is Tom Atkins the GOAT? Have you seen Unforgiven? Am I going to like it or what? Next up, I have one of my favorite films of 2024. It's a Christmas classic, a horror classic, and just an all-around classic, Terrifier 3 on 4K. I had to take that slipcover off. It was way too distracting. Terrifier 3, one of my favorite films of the year. A total breakout for Damien Leone, Art the Clown, Terrifier as a name, a brand, all that. You know Art the Clown. You know what this movie's about. I'm not going to go over that. The one thing I am going to say, and I think it's the consensus around this, I haven't really looked too much into it, but I think most people agree that the 4K on this isn't what it could and should be. It's HDR10. It honestly doesn't look like a 4K image. You know, it doesn't look bad. That's not to say it looks bad. I mean, it looks like a standard Blu-ray. It doesn't, you know. This film has some pretty vibrant colors. When I remember seeing it in the theater, I remember seeing it in a lot more detail than this. It just, you know, I just thought that this 4K itself would actually be a lot better than what we got. And I can't complain because it's still a good version of the movie I love on physical media. But all I'm saying is we could have gotten a little bit better. But honestly, I feel a little bit swindled with this only because it's a 4K and it doesn't feel like one. Next up, I have a little bit of a guilty pleasure. I'll still admit that I like this, but, you know, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of crap for displaying this one. The Stand on Blu-ray.
Unacceptable!
It's a miniseries that came out from Paramount in the end of 2019, going into 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Unspecified virus of unknown origin.
And if you're unfamiliar with The Stand is about a deadly virus that kills 98% of the world's population, and the rest of the people on Earth are pretty much split up into the good and the evil, and it becomes a epic tale of good versus evil. Stephen King wrote this huge book, and it became a miniseries in '94, directed by the great Nick Garris. I actually really loved the 1994 miniseries. I have fond memories of watching it when it aired. With that said, I've always been interested in The Stand and the characters and just anything Stand related because there's not a whole lot out there. There's a short Marvel Comics run. I believe you can get them in volumes. Other than that, there's this, and that's kind of all there is. So this isn't the best to really represent Stephen King's vision. I like this because they do some interesting things that the '94 miniseries didn't do. I like that they had a bigger budget, is what it looked like, but there's also times where the budgeting and the production design decisions were questionable. There's some questionable casting in this.
My dog stepped on a bee.
There's you know what, there's a lot to cringe about this, but you know, I found this really cheap for $10 Rasputin music and DVDs, and you know, I couldn't resist because before, when this was $20 and above, I couldn't bring myself to buy it, but at $10 used, why not?
Why not?
I recently revisited this and watched through it again. It's really, really crazy how there was a lot of things that kind of happened in real life. Funny because this was all done by the time 2020 happened, because it was airing in between 2019 and 2020. This isn't the best version of The Stand. I will not recommend it as the best thing. I recommend the miniseries from '94. I recommend reading the book. Watch this last. It's really not the best, but it's just more content for starved stands. Say that 5 times fast. So in that same trip to Rasputin Music and DVDs, I was in their holiday section and realized that I didn't have this next pickup on Blu-ray, and we're probably not going to get a 4K of this because it's Disney, and you know, the original is already released in 4K, so that just makes me doubt it even more. Home Alone 2 on Blu-ray. It was only $3.95 in their used section. I didn't have it. You know what Home Alone 2 is. You either love it or hate it. I think it's an imposter of the first film. You know, a rip-off, almost, if you will, of the first film. Paint by numbers sequel. Yeah, it's kind of bad, but it's also still kind of fun. And you know, I really wanted to see it this holiday season, and it was $3.95 used. I couldn't resist.
Thanks.
Next up, we have one of my favorite films of 2024, and that is Oddity on Blu-ray. Oddity is an interesting oddity because it was a sleeper film that a lot of people on YouTube recommended, like Red Letter Media, so on and so forth. Oddity is old school, classic, atmospheric horror at its best. It was directed by Damien McCarthy, who directed Caveat, which I've yet to see, but now I want to see even more because I really liked Oddity. Oddity tells the story of a psychic woman who goes to investigate her twin sister's death at her own home. And a year later, the twin sister of the woman comes to the house to basically figure out what happened to her sister and if she could have prevented her murder. She's psychic, and she brings along some interesting things to help with the investigation. One of them is this wooden man you see on the cover here. This is a perfect example of this mood, style, atmosphere, creepiness, foreboding danger. I mean, I really didn't expect to like this as much as I did, and I really did. I don't want to say a whole lot more about the plot because you really need to see. Next up, we have a 4K upgrade of a Criterion classic and one of my favorite films of the 90s, and that is Sofia Coppola's Virgin Suicides on 4K from Criterion. Virgin Suicides is a favorite of mine. It's Sofia Coppola's first film, adapted from a novel of the same name. I've never read the novel, but this is a very special film because it's an indie film in a sense, and it's, you know, it's rough around the edges. It's the word that I hear most people say about this film, and I totally agree, is it's dreamy. It's shoegaze for film. It's about a group of 5 sisters in the 70s who basically lived under oppressive parents' roof, and it's their coming of age, but you know, there's some darkness underneath, hence the title. All I can say about this film is it's very atmospheric in a positive, like vintage, classic, dreamy, you know.
All to understand those 5 girls who, after all these years, we can't get out of our minds.
Honestly, if you want a good drama that's gonna make you think, make you feel emotions, make you laugh too, You know, this is a great film. I can't recommend it enough. I haven't seen the 4K yet. I did see this on Blu-ray when it was released by Criterion, and it looked pretty damn good back then. So I can only imagine this is going to look better with the HDR highlights. I've heard good things, so I decided to pick it up. No brainer. Love to pick it out.
It didn't matter in the end how old they had been, or that they were girls, but only that we had loved them.
If you are in for nostalgia, we have nothing but that for you for the next two picks, especially if you are a child of the 80s or 90s. So next up, without further ado, is the 4K of Can't Hardly Wait from Sony.
Time to get busy.
Who does he think he is? Brad Pitt? And you're like Gwyneth, but with bigger boobs. Oh, totally bigger boobs.
This film, for lack of a better word, it's wholesome, fun. It's not really irreverent like things like American Pie or Dick were. It's something kind of like the whole family can enjoy, but at the same time, it's definitely not safe either. It does tackle some interesting topics. It's funny as hell. It's got some great music. Whole big cast of characters, so you're gonna like somebody.
I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs!
Everyone's interesting. Everyone's fun to watch. It feels like hanging out. You know, I mean, I think people used to talk crap about this movie back when it came out in the 90s. I kind of secretly loved it. And maybe now I can say out loud, I love it. After the DVDs were released of this and Blu-ray became a thing, there was a Blu-ray and it quickly went out of print. So then people had to go to imports if they wanted to own this. And I personally went and got the South African release because it was region free and it worked. But the picture quality wasn't that great. It was from an old master and, you know, it was all Blu-ray. So it was aging. When I heard this was released on 4K, I knew I had to upgrade.
Upgrade.
No brainer. I've heard good things about it, but I haven't checked out the transfer myself. I hear it is a good upgrade over the Blu-rays, and that's all I needed to go and buy it sight unseen. So I think if you were on the fence about upgrading this, even without seeing it, I can wholeheartedly say it's worth your money. Hey, it was worth mine. I picked it up, so check it out.
Check it out.
When you find out who your friends really are.
I don't think she's prettier than Gwyneth. Not even.
What your future really holds.
I am going to have sex with someone at this party.
Not sponsored by Ghost Energy Drink.
I'm a ghost. Ghost.
And lastly, we have an 80s classic on 4K that I am proud to own and import from the UK. Willow on 4K from Disney. Disney announced Willow would come to North America in a steelbook only that was priced so damn high, so stupidly high. I said hell no. Steelbook for that much, I'm good. Well, this is how you do it, folks. Import from the UK. This is the 4K of Willow, and as you can see, it is region free. It will play on your North America Blu-ray players. Wow. I got this for about 40 bucks on eBay. If you can get it for about the same price, I highly recommend it, as the Steelbook is going for, I believe, 60 and up. Willow, if you're unfamiliar, 80s classic. Yeah, it's a Lord of the Rings ripoff from George Lucas and Ron Howard, but it's Ron Howard's first film. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's fun. It's just a hell of a fun movie. From my youth, remembering it, it's one of the first movies I remember seeing, you know, along with Star Wars. It's also one of the first movies I remember being aware that movies were promoted places, because I remember Wendy's had some sort of a tie-in where you would have a cup, a Willow cup.
Now you can have the magic of the new movie Willow with a special magic cup inside each Wendy's kids meal. Fill it up and a magical scene from the movie appears. Willow magic cups at Wendy's. You can collect all four.
That was, I think, when I was aware of, you know, movie crossover promotions. So anyway, Willow is an 80s classic. If you want it on 4K, I really suggest importing it. Yes, it's a thick boy. It's gonna be thicker on your shelves than any other 4K, but you know, that's because it's from the UK. This looks pretty damn good. While I'll admit it didn't blow me away with the picture quality upgrade, and like most things on today's video, everything's an upgrade, so I would say this is a hearty upgrade, only if you're a really big fan of this. I think if you're just okay with owning it on Blu-ray, own it on Blu-ray, but if you absolutely need to have the 4K, I really suggest going this route and importing from the UK. Steelbook for $60, Disney, I mean, come on, that's just crap. And just Disney's prices have been garbage lately, and so to buy this secondhand and to buy this for a lot cheaper, and to, you know, I mean, look, it comes with the slipcover, and you know, hey, for 40, 45 bucks, worth my time. And it's definitely worth yours if you're considering upgrading. So
upgrade. There are 9,726 listings for upgrade.
That's it for this month's episode of Physical Therapy. What did you think of my picks? Let me know in the comments below. Am I gonna love Unforgiven? Are you gonna buy Willow? Oof, that's a big decision right there. Don't forget to like this video, share and subscribe to the channel, and as always, keep those eyes red, baby. See ya.
I've just been told that what I said earlier, I no longer believe.
Fuck me, right?
No, it's okay. I'm strong enough.
I'm shitting in my pants!
I feel very low in myself. I can't see much in the future. And I feel that any second something terrible is going to happen to me.